And buonasera a tutti. Good evening, y'all. Back on What's the Scoop, episode number 121. And it is, excuse me, Thursday, July 9th, 2026, just past 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern, and 4 p.m. Rub time. And as always, back with my guys, Brandon and Rob. Guys, I was thinking of something as we were going live, and I mentioned that I was going to say something real quick.
Yeah.
Um, so Brandon's in Florida, and I got back from a trip, literally got into my apartment less than 20 minutes ago. And this may be the most close to 6 p.m. we've started a show in months.
I mean, yeah, by the way, I love your background lighting setup. You look great today, Scoop. Your
Thank you.
lighting is great.
Thank you. I did literally nothing different.
And then Brandon up in Florida. If you see that he's using his phone for the time he's in Florida, just for ease of use things.
The only thing that annoys me about Brandon using his phone is that it looks better than me using my freaking laptop.
Yeah, are you okay turning yourself around so that it's, or whatever, turning your phone around so that you're full screen?
Yourself around. You want to not face the camera the whole show.
Am I supposed to do the hokey pokey?
That's what I thought too.
Oh no, see, I can. Here's the problem. I can't see the comments if I do that.
We'll just tell you the comments. Just right. We'll tell you the comments.
I
That's
always
fine.
have the comment open. Oh, hey, without further ado, Mr. Wiltsey is in the house saying aloha and good evening, boys. Aloha, Mr. Wiltsey. And of course, y'all know where to find it. We're gonna put that link up right for you on our chats just now. And of course, Lion Coffee, you know it, you love it. Go get it, and don't keep too much of that blood in your coffee stream. And
yes.
Go use that code Patrick Tan for all the latest sweet deals. I drank way too much this week of that. Excuse me, that chocolate macadamia. Actually, you know what? No, I didn't. There's no such thing.
There's no such thing as drinking too much coffee.
And that stuff is so good. I'm not kidding when I say that I've been joked at and about for years by my friends of how much stuff I put into my coffees. I can drink this stuff black as night. It is delicious. The dark roast has been my favorite so far. And I'm looking forward to getting more of that because, spoiler alert, I'm out. I literally have finished all of the pods that I was sent. So shout out to our friend, as always, for always taking care of us. Nikki's in the house saying, welcome back, Scoops and friends. Welcome back, Nikki. Hope you're doing well. She's been on this kick with, goodness gracious.
With Erling Haaland?
Yeah, Erling Haaland. I get it.
I get it. He's a fun player,
dude. I can't keep track 1 year to the next. I can't keep track 1 year or 1 week to the next, and it's this week. It's Erling Haaland. So
I'm just happy people are listening to the show have gone into soccer and football as much as Brandon have been, as much as Brandon and I have been over the years. So it's good to get some soccer content in here for
Nikki,
sure.
I'm trying. I just got here, so we'll see how it goes.
Nikki says Brandon have fun and flaw for me. Of course, I'm talking about Florida. I'm talking about Catville, Panther Nation, all of the good stuff down there in the Sunshine State. So, with that, Rob, in consistency with Brandon's comments, where about once a week he asks us, do you remember when the show used to be about sports? You had something about which you were quite passionate that wasn't relating to sports. So I'm going to give you the floor to talk about that. As Mr. Hathaway says, good evening, fellas. Good evening, Mr. Hathaway.
Good evening. Okay, so there's two things. We'll just get this out the way really quick. There's two things in the world outside of sports that I want to get to. Firstly, the CFB pay don't play thing. Okay, so first things first with this. We were explaining this for years. It happened. The community's pissed. So Scoop was asking me earlier, and I'll tell the crew and everyone here.
Thank you, because I didn't know what you were talking about, and normally I know this stuff quite well.
So here's the deal. So college football 25, to get to level 100 in your coaching tree. So now they bumped it up to level 100, for your coaching, whatever, to be the best coach in college football, basically. For those of you who don't play the college football games, level 100 is the max. That is true. We were thinking about doing it today, but the match was too early. We might do it at some point over next week. Get another watch party in for the semifinals. We'll see how we do. Will. But basically, so level 100 to max your coach out. And then Road to Glory now has kind of like 2K where it's like cap breakers. You can only bump up your player to a certain amount.
I'm loving Road to Glory, to be honest.
Okay, Scoop. Yikes. I'm sorry, man. Here's the thing.
I'm not like eating, sleeping, and drinking these games like some people. I play them to clear my head for and whatnot. So like there's probably things that people care far more about than I do. I'm just saying I'm enjoying RTJ.
That's fair. Okay, so here's the thing. So to upgrade your player fully, you have to pay microtransactions, pretty much.
See, I haven't seen that at all.
To upgrade to level 100 in coach, to be the best coach you could possibly be, you have to pay microtransactions. Because guess what? They took, on Coach XP, how it's slowest, slow, normal, fast, and fastest.
Yeah.
They took out fast and fastest. And I think it was C4. He did a test where he won national championships for 10 years. 10 years. And I think CFB Dynasty's like 20 years. And he only got to level 48. So you can, and they literally scaled down the XP slider to make it impossible for you to get to level 100 without paying. And I played the game for a few hours last night, and I appreciate Scooping like, oh yeah, I just played to clear my head. That's great. I'm way past that point with these games. Way past.
That's why you kick my ass at Madden 5 times a week.
I'm way past it because here's my thing, okay? And Brandon knows this as well.
Yeah.
We lived in an era, right, where Madden had all of these great features. You could we'll just use Madden as an example. You could play as a kicker if you wanted. You could be tight end. You could play any position you wanted.
They brought tight end back, by the way.
They're bringing them back for some reason. Just give us whatever position we want. And you know what I was thinking about. So Scoop is.
I wish they would do tackles.
I know you could do tackles in Madden 09.
Like anyway. For some reason, offensive tackle is just so fun to me.
Yeah, and the reason why they can't do it is because of the legacy code that's in it. But you know what I thought about, and Scoop, you could speak to this. Like you play OTP, you play that, you play Football Manager, you play these manager games, right? And I look at the passion you have playing these manager games, and I go, how is it so hard to put these kind of things, right? For example, OTP. How hard is it really to put all of these things that make OTP so fun into MLB The Show?
Well, can I give you an example?
Yes.
So here's one thing I figured, or I shouldn't say figured out, I've found out. So so you've seen it, there's an FM version for PS5, which I have, and I've played. On PC, and you may actually know the inner workings of this better than I would because you know more about the fundamentals of PCs more than I do. But on the PC, I can go in, which this is a psycho behavior, but it's something I've done and something I've done more than once. I can go on, open every nation, every league, every level for both men and women, and create something. Half the time it crashes my computer, but I can do it.
Yeah.
Going on the piece or on the PS5, it caps you at 10 countries.
Yeah, and that's something too. And this is the thing. I don't understand with the powerful consoles that we have. I know William's like trying to get a PS5. Wait, PS6 is coming out.
Yeah, I was gonna say at this point, just wait for PS6.
PS6 is coming out next year.
The only reason I got PS5 is because I was still playing my PS4, and I was just so like it literally friggin' died.
Honestly, respect to you, Scoop, because you got a very good deal on your PS5. You did a good job.
The only reason I pounced is because I could literally get a PS5 for what an X1S was going for.
Right, exactly.
That's the only reason I pounced.
Xbox, Series S. But my point is, so like with Dynasty, right? They put in all these new features and they're really good. You know, the NIL deals, you have budgeting, you have all this stuff. But we had this in games 10, 15 years ago. And then on top of that, it's like you play like Scoop, as I've said, which can better speak to this than I can. You look at the manager focused sports games right now and the level of customization that you have on PC and all of that. And I'm like, how is it not possible that you can import all of these amazing customization options and put it into these games, put it into Madden, put it into college football?
Does some of it have to do with the fact, because again, so for me at least,
yeah,
when I play these games, I'm not playing out like, because you have to use games different ways here. When I play these games, as in when I play Football Manager,
yeah,
I think twice I've actually gone into a game, like an actual match, and played it out.
Yeah, and that's fine. But a lot of people,
I'm doing mostly the work in between. But the reason why I bring this up is because I wonder if part of why they have to do it this way is because there's so much more motion and graphic and so much more detail oriented in that regard, because 85% of these games is text windows. And what was the complaint you had about Madden a couple of weeks ago is that most of what they were bringing in was menus and whatnot. I eat that stuff up because it allows me to do more stuff. And I understand you're looking for actual football gameplay because that's what Madden is, and I understand that. But I'm saying that might be an element as to why the level of depth is a little bit different from one type of game to the other.
I'm okay with menus if it is that. If it is you have this super robust thing where you have every little bit of customization possible. You can customize every player. You can customize every squad. Or whatever, like the customization that you have in Football Manager. I know Football Manager is a great example. I'm okay with RPG menus if they are fully robust. Not you give me this one feature 1 year and then you take it away. You give me this one thing 1 year and you take it away.
Oh yeah, I get that. I get that Madden. I get that Electronic Arts is hardcore breadcrumbing us. Like I understand that part.
And that's my problem. My problem is I'm okay with menu stuff if you give me ample opportunity to create every little bit, every minute detail of the sandbox world that I want to create is in there. But the issue is there's none of that in these games. You have a quarter of it. So then why are you putting it in anyway? Brandon, do you see where I'm going?
It's just, like you said before, Rob, it's like, we grew up, well, especially for me, I grew up with an original Xbox. I played the older Maddens. So I have every Madden from 02 till now. And I have almost every college football game from 03 until now. And but the thing is, I find more enjoyment out of playing all the older games because there's so much more you can do. And while there's menus in a sense of like, you click on something and it gives you another menu to customize something else. It's like, but at least it's giving you menus that are important versus just like weird kind of text boxes and menus that's like, this has no bearing on the game whatsoever. Like it's not enjoyable. Yeah. Where it's like, you could like literally, there's this joke in the Madden community, or I think any football game, either CFB or Madden. There's a joke in the community of like, streamers making fun of people who are like, yearning for old Madden, for like old franchise mode because of the price of hot dogs. Like there's that meme where it's like no, we legit want to be able, like, if you have an owner mode, you want to be able to not just relocate and just set price and just like, change uniforms of your team. We want to be able to, decide, how big the parking lot is. We want to be able to decide how much the food and drinks are, like, because
you can do that in 2K.
Well, yeah, you could do that in 2K, but then 2K is also like, oh, if I put it, like, I tested this, right? I did like a huge expansion thing, and then all the overalls are messed up. these games, like the simplest point is, these games are now starting with CFB 27, and 2K has been like this forever. And this is the overall point that I'm trying to make is like we are getting to a point now. And I think we'll see what happens with FC with the grounds mode where you can walk around and stuff, because that's probably about to come out for FC 27.
Is that gonna be like City and 2K?
Basically.
Okay.
And nobody wants that because everybody hates the city. Everybody hates
everyone
the
hates
City
it.
I don't think I've played City 2K once in my life.
And good on you. And but my point is, all of these, the reason why I get upset about menus on top of menus on top of menus that are laggy, and then also the animation stuff, which you talked about in years, right? And that aspect of it. What bothers me is like the core of these games now, no matter what mode you're playing, Road to Glory, Dynasty, Franchise in Madden, Superstar in Madden, they're all geared towards give us money, give us more money, give us this, give us that. And all these modes are geared towards that now. So they're not geared towards gameplay. They're not geared towards giving you the opportunity to build out a wider sandbox like any manager mode that Scoop plays. I cannot believe we're in 2026 and we get to a point where like OOTP, the stuff that Scoop always talks about with OOTP and these amazing customization options, why isn't that in MLB The Show?
I've only shown you a handful of them. Like it's too much for me, quite literally. Like
it's robust.
You can expand to here's just some of the things. You can expand to up to 40 teams in Major League Baseball. City-wise, you choose your city. It's not pre-selected. You choose your city. You can put a team in Uzbekistan if you want to.
Yes,
I have no clue why. I have no clue why you'd want to, but you can. You can go any year, any individual year. I don't care what year it is. You can go back and say every player retired from this year is now a coach that you can hire, or that anybody can hire.
Right.
Like it just and if I kept talking, you go here all night. But I'm just saying like, those are some of the things I use the most. But it's like, and I mean, again, that's why if you compare my hour, because my hours on the show and Madden used to be probably my highest of any game. They got dwarfed when I found Out of the Park, which was about 8 or 9 years ago.
Right.
Because it's just, I mean, baseball is my favorite sport, obviously, but it's just also the fact that there's just, they increasingly are finding more and more things to do. Like people are like, it's funny. You'll go onto the fora for these, which is basically think of Reddit, but just for OOTP.
Yeah, forums. Yep.
Yeah, you can go onto the fora for these, and essentially, you will basically just find people saying, "Look, we're complaining about this, but these are first world problems when you're talking about a game like this, because this game, it annihilates about 99% of anything we've ever seen sports wise."
Yeah. All I'm saying with my menu complaint is that these menus are or these features that they're adding into these games. And again, the big point here is that these features are all getting put in to make people pay more money. It's,
of course.
Can you do that? You could we're in 2026. You're telling me you can't make a code that takes everything that OOTP does well and put it in MLB The Show? Can you imagine how great MLB The Show would be if you have all of these options, and on top of that, you can do all of the, and on top of that, you have the gameplay, you have all this stuff, and hopefully the gameplay works, because MLB The Show gameplay this year is bad. That's all I'm saying. All I'm saying is that we are creating these things, we are doing these things, and it doesn't matter. These new features don't matter. They don't mean anything because you're going to take them away anyway. And all these menus is just a bunch of meaningless text boxes that mean absolutely nothing for no reason whatsoever. And you're not allowing us to enjoy the games for what they are, which are games. They're not microtransaction funnels. We're not a crypto company. Let's just play these games and give us so much flexibility to have fun with these games. And right now at this point, why are we spending $70 on this crap if you're not giving us all of these options to do these great things with these games?
I got one answer for you. And it's an answer all three of us know. No competition.
Exactly. That is true. That is 100% true, and I'm tired of it, and I'm done. If EA is just gonna sit around and microtransaction us to death, it's gonna be like 2K is right now, which 2K honestly is kind of unplayable if you don't pay a bunch of money on top of what you're already paying. So I feel like we're getting.
And that's the thing is, I haven't touched my career in I don't know how long. I mean, I was terrible at it anyway.
Dude, 2K became unplayable once you had to green a layup.
That is true.
2K, the last 2K I remember being really good, may he rest in peace, was the one with Vic Van Leer.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm so upset that we're in 2026 and we're paying $70 every year or maybe more for just reskin garbage. Just reskin. We're adding this random stuff and people get excited about all this stuff. And by the way, the core gameplay of 27 is slower and sluggish than it's ever been.
You know, like
Why,
you know
bro?
You know what's sad is like when you go through the generations of console, particularly when the Xbox came around, because that forced PlayStation to up their game. When you go from the start of the Xbox era in 2001, and you look at like that and the 360 versus the PS2, PS3, and like early PS4. If you go there, it's like look at how those games play, and then look at this like from the Xbox One and like midlife PS4 on basically the last 10 years or so, or even a little bit more than 10 years. The games have been relatively the same.
They've been relatively the same, and as we've talked about in our Madden franchise that we're playing just for kicks, we're honestly just playing it because we're honestly part of the reason I love playing the league is I get to sit
It's
down.
because you kick my ass.
No, it's because here I'm getting to it. It's because I get to sit there and think about, oh my god, this is broken. Oh my god, this is broken. This I can cap. Madden and CFB, and honestly every other EA game, it's all about how can I cheese the animation system to play better versus, oh, I'm actually playing football. No, I'm playing animation simulator. It's not fun.
No, it's not. I mean, how often have you guys wanted to kick me out of the group chat? Because every week, every time we have a new game, I'm basically complaining about how much I'm playing two people. I'm playing whichever one of y'all I'm going up against, and I'm playing the friggin' broken ass computer.
You're playing the broken ass computer. You're playing animation simulator. That's all I have. We are getting.
I spent
very
so
close.
much. Do you want to see how many damn notes I took from Shane on his friggin' whiteboard stuff? And I was thinking I'm finally going to be good at this Madden game against these guys. And then it took me about 6 quarters to realize these are freaking useless as a rubber beak on a woodpecker in this game, because all I have to do is memorize the same damn plays and just realize that these are the 4 that I can use with the team that I have. Nothing else, man. The freaking stupid what is it? This coach suggestion, whatever they call that damn thing.
Coach suggestion's awful.
I have used it several times, and then I realized I've run out of this, and then I realized you pointed out to me actually. I'm like, I have run out of this formation 26 times today.
It's garbage. Anyway,
And
Scoop, is your computer having an aneurysm?
I've
What's
run
going
out
on
of
with
a
your computer?
If I've run out of it, you can hear that?
Yes,
Yeah.
your computer's exploding. You
I'm so
sound like
sorry.
you sound like your computer's a death bomb or something. This is great.
Okay.
No. Again, to finish up my
There,
point.
that should be better. It was because I plugged my phone in, and for some reason, it keeps thinking I'm unplugging in my.
Oh, I know that feeling. I know that feeling. Again, here's the thing with these sports games, and this is why I encourage everybody to just play different games. Like, yeah, you can play sports games for fun and kind of goof off with friends, which is what we do. Otherwise, I'm sorry. Don't pay $70 for for these games that are gonna nickel and dime you after you buy it. There's no point. You're not getting any value for your money. You might as well just spend the extra $10 and pre-order GTA 6.
And now, when it comes to like, and when it comes to the capabilities of the newer consoles, not so much consoles, but if you get a PC, you can go back and basically emulate any of the old games or you can basically download the old games into your computer and do a whole almost like take Madden 26 or CFB 26 and take the rosters and put them in the old game.
I also bear this in mind. I just saw this today and I sent it to Brandon. The modders for CFB 27 literally got all of the real high school prospects, 200 of them, and put them in the game.
Why can't CFB do that?
Thank you.
Why can't we get that on console?
With the people who are paid to do it, these people are just doing it for shits and gigsties.
These people are just doing it to have fun with the game. And I get it. Not everyone can afford a PC in the modern era. I understand that. But if you're sitting here on a console, I implore you, because I do this every year. I wait for these games to come out on EA Play, or I wait for them to go $20 or less, and then I buy them. That's
when I bought the show this year.
Don't spend $70 of your own money to get nickel and dimed by these guys in the back end. Just don't do it. It's not worth your time. It's not worth your effort. Unless they can put all of these customizable features and all these things that we've been asking for decades back into the game and more, then what's the point of spending your hard-earned $70? There's no discernible reason at all. None. Just don't buy it at full price. Pay the extra $10 and buy GTA 6 instead. Because GTA 6, at least they put 10, 11, 12 years of effort into that game.
Yeah.
No matter how it's going to be in that game or whatever when it launches, at least you know they put 12 years of work into it, not 6 months every year to frick it up. Anyway. Last thing, Spotify versus Apple. So Spotify versus Apple Music, I'll make this quick. I don't like either of them. It's because the audio quality is just not that good on Spotify. Apple Music doesn't work on Android. I don't know what's up. Why? The only reason people are paying for Spotify Premium, I've realized now using the free trial, is just because the app is easy to use. Yeah. Otherwise, what's the point? You get nothing.
Also, there are a few reasons as to why. Like, I know ad-free music is a big thing for some people. Also, if you, Nick says, our ratings dropped this week because you weren't on. I look forward to being back on soon. But I'm sure I'll talk to Christina tonight or tomorrow. I'm sure, and she'll let me know what's going on. But I lost my train of thought there.
No, but you're talking about the ad-free thing. The ad-free thing, yeah.
So the ad-free thing, but also, I don't know if you've used, I've used both. I've used Spotify Premium. I've used Spotify Basic, I think is what they call it.
Yeah, Basic, or I think it's basically just,
the thing
Spotify
that I didn't
with
like,
ads.
The thing that I didn't know, let's try that again. The thing I didn't like the most about that wasn't even the ads. It was, you can't select what you want to listen to. You only can listen to it on shuffle.
Yeah, no, that's why they bump you up to premium. But premium, it's like, okay, at least with Apple you get Dolby Atmos audio. Lostness is fine, but what people have to understand about streaming apps, and I know not everyone's as nitpicky as we are when it comes to all these things.
I have hearing issues, so you don't got to worry about me talking about audio quality.
My whole thing is like, okay, so you're compressing the audio anyway, but you can't give us something to help it. You can't give us Dolby Atmos audio to help it when we're paying this much money. At least Apple gives you that. But it's like, I don't know. I'm tired of just paying for stuff just because of ease of use without the extra features actually mattering. And you have to go deep into the settings to select lossless audio, when I think Apple, you just get it automatically, basically, if the song supports it. It just bugs me. You stop. Why are we paying 14, 15, $16 a month just because the app is easy to use? You need more than that. If things are more expensive, give us more stuff. I don't know, Brandon, if you have some things here on just music as a whole. But that's just my general again, that's my initial thoughts. I'll do a full review in a few months on both of them when I actually finish up my trial. But I'm just frustrated with both of them because it's like, oh, Apple, the menus aren't as intuitive. Spotify, the menus are intuitive, but the audio quality is not very good. Why am I choosing between these two major apps when they both have significant issues and they just don't work the way I want them to?
Or you could be like me and just buy a modern phone that has 512 gig of storage and just download anything you want.
Well, here's what I was confused. Here's what I'm confused about, because you said that before.
Yeah.
You say you download music. What kind of phone do you have that you just like download without using Apple Music or Spotify?
You can do it on really.
You could do it on any phone, dude. You just have to find ways.
You have to know. It's a lot of trial and error. Jesus.
Error?
Yeah. I'm the
Your
Jersey.
New Jersey followed you down there.
Coming out. It's a lot of trial and error. It's funny. I don't have really a Jersey accent. You guys know that, but still.
There you did.
There for a second. It's also because I'm tired because it's been a long day. I've been up since 4:30. But
felt that.
But like a lot of it is trial and error, and you have to realize when downloading music, like a lot of sites are gonna crash or they're gonna get shut down because the government's gonna shut them down or whatever it is. Like you have to just keep kind of like sticking and moving, bobbing and weaving through different sites and figuring out which one works the best. I have a few that I like to use that are the easiest, but like I have over 20,000 songs in my phone. I love music to death. I listen to music religiously. Like my life would cease to exist without music. So like,
yeah,
if I can find a way around having to pay, we already pay for enough stuff in this life. And the thing is, we already pay exorbitant prices. Listen, I'll buy a ticket to see my artist. I'll buy to see my favorite artists live, or I'll buy their merch. But that's it. That's the only thing I'm buying. I'm not gonna buy their music on top of that unless it's from like a Goodwill store and I can buy like an old school CD or vinyl or something like that.
Also, I'm sorry, Spotify rips their artist off every time you even listen to their music.
And the thing is, Spotify doesn't even pay their artist. And
that's where I thought you were gonna go with this originally.
And I don't have Apple because I don't have Apple phones, so I don't have So I'm like,
I used Apple Music on Android and it's not good.
How?
Because it's just broken.
No, back up. I straight up didn't realize that the Apple Music app existed for Android.
Of course it does.
It does.
But it's not good.
Yeah.
But it's not good. It's slow. It's sluggish. It's
because Apple and Android, they're not optimized for each other. So
well yeah, that's like. And that exact reason is why I didn't expect that would even exist. I was like, why would they make it for their competitor?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, the thing is, making it for your competitor benefits you because you make more money on the back end.
Yeah. It's just like, but it's just.
Yes, I'm just explaining what my thought process was in believing that.
Yeah. But that's how it is though. It's like
I'm surprised, Kurt, because for me it's a slow mess. It's a slow mess, and congrats again, Kurt, on winning the chip.
Congrats! Oh dear God, Nick's going back to back. I just want to shout out Kurt and say thank you for showing why so many people were rooting this year for the Spurs.
Yeah, you know what it is though, like when
it's all love, Kurt. I'm just messing with you.
Like,
but no, Nikki, that's my point. Spotify, people are just buying it because it's ease of use. iPhone and Android, it works perfectly. But you're not buying it for audio quality.
The thing is,
Plus, this isn't that impressive compared to Dolby. It's not.
If you just download your music for free like I do, you won't be able to tell the difference between that, Apple Music, and Spotify anyway. And the thing is, I'm getting it for free, so I'm the one winning here. Like,
you're doing it by let's put it in quotes, nefarious means. But
well, they can't arrest all of us. But it's true. It's like when I want to listen to music, it's like, like I said, I'll support my artist by going to their concert if they're in the area or buying their merch, whatever it is. But as far as it comes to actually listening to their music, and it's like, nowadays they don't put stuff on CD anymore. I love CD. I love physical media. So like if it's not on CD and it's not on vinyl, I can only listen to it just by online. I'm going to download it. I'm not going to pay for it. That is stupid.
Okay, so, Nikki is right. Yes, we have good quality headphones and sound machines. I get that. But if your app doesn't support that, you're on a back end.
Yeah, exactly.
If your app doesn't support Dolby and you don't have like if Spotify doesn't have Dolby, even if you have a Dolby sound machine, you're not going to be able. It's not going to be as effective. You're
No,
just
it's only as effective as the weakest link in the chain, whether it's audio, whether it's video. It's like
Yeah.
it's like similar if you try and watch something that was optimized for 4K on a 1080p. Like it's
yeah,
like,
and there's always cropping and all this.
Like
and it's usually done poorly as all get out.
You know what it is
Yeah.
when it comes to music too is like I'm somebody, and the thing is we can all relate to this. Like
It did
growing
for a
up-
while, Nikki. It doesn't anymore. It's just losslessness.
like growing up, when when CDs were still a thing, because our generation, like if you're an old Gen Z member, you can actually remember CDs and things like that.
it was so better. It was so much
But
better than this.
physical media is so much better because that's how music was intended to be listened to.
Right.
And
Well,
it's
the more
not
you
just-
try and scale it, and the more you try and get
And-
more quantity out to more people,
and even
the
so, like-
quality is going to go down. And that's where I
And-
thought that was my original argument about this with Rob, was when I was going to tell you about that. I thought it was because now we're seeing, instead of 10 or 12 songs on a record, now we're seeing 40 or 50, and it's like we feel like, I mean, even much as I love them, even Taylor Swift and Morgan Wallen, two of my favorites, half of their songs on certain albums just sound
I can't
either the same or not memorable.
I can't do
Right.
more than I can't do more than like 14 to 16 songs on an album, because then after that, the quality of the album is so just becomes so watered down.
It just sounds
Like-
sounds like a collection of songs rather
Yeah.
than sound like a cohesive unit of a
Yeah.
project.
And
And
that,
it's just-
that again, as you said, Scoop, is due to this streaming thing where it's all about how many times you listen to
Numbers.
the artist. It's
Numbers.
all about numbers.
Numbers game.
It's all about numbers. But then it's all about numbers.
Thank you,
but then
Drake.
my sound quality isn't as good.
Like
So what's
you know
the
what,
point?
but you know what it is too. Like
It's
when it comes
quantity
to,
versus quality.
you know what it is about sound quality too is like even with the sound quality not being good on Spotify, Apple Music,
Apple
still
Music,
some-
it's good. It's good for the top songs because they have Dolby. But then
Yeah.
the ease of use of the app is garbage. And then
Like-
Spotify has the opposite problem.
yeah, but
That's
you know
my
what
point.
it is. You know what it is too. Like even with the sound quality kind of not being where it probably should be, is like there's still something a lot more charming to me about being in the, like when I was younger, being in the back of my grandparents' car or my dad's car and hearing music come through like on the radio, and it sounded like a little bit distorted, like the waves and things like that coming through.
Yeah.
Yeah, AM or
There's-
FM.
Like there was something
Yeah.
more charming about that being like the way people listen to music. Like even now on the radio, like they have to kind of slightly speed up or slightly slow down certain songs so that way they don't get like certain penalties and things like that. And
Yeah.
or the quality might take a hit because you might be driving, you might be depending on reception or
You're
whatever
going
it
like
is.
in and out of the
Yeah.
bandwidth and whatnot. Yeah.
My
Like
point
that.
is, if you're paying for a premium service, it doesn't matter what the premium service
Yeah.
is, then make it premium. Give me the premium stuff. Give me the ease of use stuff. Why aren't more people complaining about this?
Because why a lot of people are doing what I do. They're ripping stuff. Like they might do a free trial of Spotify. And the thing is, by the way, there is a way you can do this where you can rip songs off of Spotify, Apple Music, and download them for free into your phone and not pay for it. You get the same exact quality. There's ways to do it.
Anyway, thanks for 40 minutes of your time. I just wanted to complain about both of those things because it's just on my mind. And the CFB thing is just dumb to me. Please go do more research. Watch Bordeaux's video and all that stuff. Quick before I know Scoopy want to do Anthony Volpe stuff, which also we're all pretty passionate about. World Cup stuff, really quick. France Morocco today was France are so good, dude.
Yeah.
That's all I have. I mean, top to bottom, they're so good. Morocco didn't have a chance today. From kickoff one, from the first second, and I think they're gonna make the final. They're so complete, it's incredible, and that's all I have to say about the game today. That's all I have.
Mhm.
Anything, Brandon? Because that's all I got for World Cup stuff today. It's just incredible how good they are.
I mean, at this point, to me, France has to be the favorite to win the whole thing because when you look at it across the board, Belgium has had an easy path to get here. so I'm not taking them seriously unless they absolutely come to life. Switzerland has a tough task against Argentina, but Argentina, even though Argentina is expected to get far, Argentina can't keep going down 2 or 3 goals and coming back in the last 5 minutes of a game. That's not how that works. They're going to get caught somewhere. So I don't try. So even if they were to make it all the way to the final and whatnot, or it's like if you ended up with France, Argentina, France is smoking them.
As of right now, yeah.
So I don't feel comfortable with Argentina. I don't feel comfortable with Spain because Spain, out of the big clubs left, they've had the most uneven tournament, where they either score a good bit of goals and play good defense, or they don't score at all and barely win games 1-0, like they did against Portugal. So
Yep.
I
And then you talk about Norway and England, and I'm worried about both of their back lines. And I don't trust Switzerland for anything except their defense is really good.
They've both got absolute legendary strikers, but that's it, really. Like, when you look out across their rosters, it's like they're just not. They're like the two darlings of the tournament because no one thought that England was going to get this far.
No one thought Norway was going to get this far either.
So it's like to have them both play each other is going to be great. It's sad that one of them is going to have to go home, but but I don't think either one of those teams can win the whole. Like, when you look out across that whole board, the only team from top to bottom that has looked great the entire tournament that has impressed everybody is France. It's France.
Yeah, it's France. So, and again, France to me, I just look at it and I go, complete. I have no complaints. Today, no complaints. Zero. None. Yeah. Nothing. Yeah. Perfect football. Nothing. And then again, Switzerland, I love their defense. They can't attack. So I don't know what to do. France is the overall point is France is just complete, and I can't see them losing this tournament at this point.
Yeah.
I can't. Although I hope to God we see Spain and France next week. Because that to me feels like a really good, like both teams to me feel like the closest in terms of what we can do in terms of competitiveness. And Fox said with Lamine Yamal's goals. Lamine Yamal's been incredible anyway, and what he can do against that French back line is going to be so fun. So hopefully we get that, but we'll see what happens next week.
That's the one Portugal victory I will take from this entire tournament is Lamine Yamal still can't beat Portugal by himself. He cannot do it.
All right, Scoop. The Anthony Volpe, Michael K thing has been incredible. You've talked about it in text that you want to talk about this. And then as I started looking into it more, I got upset and Brandon got upset. We're all upset about this for different reasons. Go ahead.
Well, I think there's myriad reasons to be upset about it. So for those who haven't heard the situation, let me bring you up to speed a little bit. So Anthony Volpe, the much maligned infielder for the New York Yankees, who allegedly plays shortstop. He stands in between the second and third baseman. Playing shortstop's a bit of a stretch right now, but he was a former top prospect. We've spoken quite a bit about the fact, Brandon has, about the fact that he was supposed to be, we believe at least, or at least I do, I believe Brandon does as well, that he was supposed to be the second baseman, not the shortstop, and then because Glaber refused to play any other position, and because Peraza couldn't hit well enough to stay at the shortstop position, even though he was the better defender at shortstop, and I wanted him there, Volpe kind of just got, SINO, shortstop in name only. So he ended up there, and now there was a report that came out. Now, I want to be very careful about how I phrase this, because on a video clip the other day, Michael K, he did say that he had heard, and he wasn't 100% sure about its accuracy, that Anthony Volpe had been asked to play some second base in the minors and refused. Now, I also want to say a couple things about this. First and foremost, if you're going to say that, you got to be really clear about the fact that you don't know 100% if it's accurate, especially when on the other end of it calls into question not only a player's character or something about off the field, but a character that you already know, or a player that you already know has a target on his back.
Yeah.
Whether agreed upon or whether considered valid by some or not, it's it's not just about sports to me at that point. It's about journalism at the same time. So, and I'm not the biggest Michael Kay fan in the world. I've said this a couple times. I'm not the biggest Michael Kay fan in the world. That being said, he's accomplished what he's accomplished. He's got the show that he has. I watch it a lot less than Kurt Valenti thinks I do, but so there's all those elements to it. He later did go back on and say, it sounded untrue, so I one thing or another, and confirm with somebody else that it wasn't true. A couple questions I have about that. One, why wouldn't you do that before saying something? Two, you already know, or you have to know at least, when you're this experienced in your job, that the overwhelming narrative, overarching narrative now is going to be, oh, somebody from upstairs yelled at him, and now he's being forced to take it back because, the Yankees are going to revolve around Anthony Volpe. So that was a mess in and of itself. I respect that he took it back at least, and I do want, I'm sorry, or that he squashed his own thing at that point, and I do want to acknowledge that. But this was so messy and so much drama around one of the two players. Of course, they played right next to each other, but one of the two players around the Yankees who really couldn't afford more negative publicity. And of course, we know who the other one is. He goes by a brand of music.
It goes by a brand of music.
Genre of music. Sorry, it's been a long day.
Still.
But
it's really good.
So I was really not thrilled by the way Michael Kay handled that. That being said, again, fans also are like the Yankee fan base in particular. Brandon and I have talked about this. This fan base is toxic as all get out.
Yeah, it is.
And so the fact that now these fans are going to look at this and think, or at least some of them are, and they're going to not just think, for the ones that even choose to do that, but they're going to talk, and they're going to be perpetrating these things on socials and whatever about, oh, it's just because the Yankee or Aaron Boone or whoever is having whatever involvement with supporting Anthony Volpe, they're always going to have his back and one thing or another. And I really think that the whole, oh, he grew up as a kid in New Jersey and they wanted him and he was the anointed kid or one thing or another, I really think a lot of that is way overplayed by the fans. I genuinely do. I don't think that just because he grew up in New Jersey and he loved the Yankees and one thing or another, I really don't think that's a major thing. I think I've seen fans do this with Todd Frazier. I saw fans do this with Pat Corbin. I saw fans do this with Bryce Harper. I've seen fans do this time and again with players, whether they're on the team or not. And which is ironic because two of our best players right now hated the Yankees growing up.
Well, not Ben Rice. Ben Rice grew up a Yankee fan.
I'm sorry, he grew up where they hated the Yankees is what I should have said. Yeah, Cam Schlittler grew up a Red Sox fan. Oh, yeah. And then on the flip side, Marcello Meyer on the Red Sox grew up a Yankees fan. That's what it was.
That's fun. I like that.
No,
story.
So do I. I'm waiting for the next time that I see Cam Schlittler pitching to Marcello Meyer. I hope it happens in like an ALCS or something one day. But
it ain't gonna be this year.
It ain't gonna be this year. I mean, if you wanted that, you might want to start with keeping Alex Cora. But no. So no disrespect to Chad Murphy or the gentleman who's managing there now, but I don't know. And Brandon, I want to hear from each of y'all about this. Not just about. I want to hear about it from a sports standpoint, but also from a journalistic standpoint, because I think that both are very relevant here. But I just really didn't like that. It was something the team didn't need, something Volpe didn't need. Yeah. And here's the thing: whether fans want to hear it or not, it matters to some players. Not all of them. Some players are like a Derek Jeter or like a whatever, and getting on them is how they respond. I read a book about sports psychology a few years ago, and every player, and this is the mark of a really good coach, and I've learned this from talking to coaches at different levels. I've talked to coaches at high school levels and all the way up to I've been fortunate to speak to a couple of guys who've coached in the NBA about this as well. including one who coached my my New Orleans Pelicans. And what a lot of them have emphasized is that you've got to be able to know how to coach different players differently. Different players need to be spoken to differently. Different players need to be, some guys you get on them a little bit more. Some guys you have their back a little bit more. It's how it is. Not everything is drill sergeancy. And I get it. It's frustrating. Brandon and I have been pissed with the way that the Yankees have played since June 17th, with the exception of whatever the heck happened today against Drew Rasmussen and Aaron Judge going out there and doing his, called, that whole thing right there. I'll tell you what that was. That was being a savage in the fucking box.
Yeah.
And, but yeah. So I'll turn the floor over to you guys now, because I clearly I feel strongly about this for myriad different reasons. And I'm curious what y'all's thoughts are. Brandon, go.
It's just another kind of microcosm of how this last month has gone for the Yankees, where it's like nothing can go right between just on the field, and then we hear murmurs about morale not. We've heard murmurs last like year and a half of morale not being great in the clubhouse and whatever. The injuries that have affected this team. Obviously, the outside noise grows louder, especially when you hear the whole June swoon thing again. That has now crept into the first half of July.
Is there any nickname for like summer awfulness for the Yankees? Because now we're in July.
Summer sadness, basically.
Summertime sadness.
Summer bummer.
Yeah,
either one works.
I don't know, what it is.
Which is ironic because the initials reversed are BS, which is what it feels like half the time watching them.
Like it's tough, and it's just like, so it's like this now Michael K thing and him having to walk it back. It's just another thing to add on to that pile of crap for the Yankees. And it's like, Anthony Volpe's no stranger to criticism, and we know this. And this has been a thing pretty much ever since late 2024, ever since his play has started declining since that point. And it's like, obviously the fans grow louder, the media grows louder. Of course, Michael K is going to hear it. And this is not a shot at Michael K. He's gotten this far in his career. He's earned it to get this. He earned the right to be this far in his career and be where he is.
Of course.
But he is somebody to me that over the years, it just seems like he's kind of slipping a little bit in like his tongue and like the things he says, and it's noticeable during broadcasts.
You see it with the home runs. That's one of the things that bothers me about him. It's like he'll say something happened, and I'm like, you are talking about a player that was not that bad. You are talking about a ball that did not land where you just said it was. I was like,
they're like,
and I was noticing this 6-7 years ago.
Jesus.
It's like for the last basically since COVID, more or less.
Which was 6 years ago, yes.
Yeah, exactly. He's been basically like pimping more home runs than Josh Donaldson, and it's like but it's not just that. Like even today, Ben Rice hit a home run that clearly went over the fence. Went over the fence, hit the seat, and bounced back. And they're like, they looked at the replay. And it's crazy because on the field, Kay actually got it right. Kay was like, "Oh, that's a home run." Like they're telling him, he's just describing what's on the field. The umpires are saying, "Hey, round the bases, it's gone." But then they're gonna huddle up and check it. So Kay was right initially. Then they look at the replay. And then Kay and Girardi changed their mind. And I'm like, if I could tell on my couch that it's a home run, why can't you? You're there.
You're there and you have 1,000 monitors right in front
exactly.
of you.
You have 1,000 angles and 1,000 monitors.
Not only that, but you're getting paid to do it.
Yeah. And it's like, especially at the highest level for the highest, the organization in baseball.
Franchise that you say it was your dream to do this for.
Yeah. So it's like when we get to this whole Anthony Volpe thing, it just makes... And the PR kind of clean up after this now, because even Anthony Volpe had to come out and say that he basically said when he was in the minors that he would play catcher if they wanted him to, which I doubt that. I don't think Anthony Volpe would have done that, but
it would have been pretty
Not
funny.
for anything, but when I watch you not able to catch balls in the infield, please don't become a catcher.
Yeah,
that'd be funny.
Like the
No,
lack
it
of
wouldn't. It'd be funny for 29 franchises, not this one.
Yeah, like I'm like, like when Volpe is saying that, it's like it's coming off as like, he didn't say that. It's kind of just coming off as like, just trying to brush it off or blow it over. And it's like I don't believe in the whole, the New Jersey, the native son of New Jersey and
That was a fan-oriented narrative that they somehow
Yeah.
are now trying to plant on
I
Cal, Brian, and Aaron, and I just don't understand why.
it's like that narrative spun out like because all narratives start from some very very base level of truth, and I
Yeah.
think that like
And then it became a big-ass game of telephone.
and I think the original truth of the matter was that, at least to me, because just from what I've seen, is that, and we've seen this over the years with many players that the Yankees kind of bring up that are young. They want to give them as long of a leash as possible, and just to see what they have. And
No
if
junk,
they're-
he was a top prospect.
and that too. And it's like, you also don't want to cut a guy loose too early because then it looks bad on your front office and your scouting department. So
And also, you have no reason to because you get 6 years of them for peanut.
and it's not for people don't realize this too. As much as I don't like Anthony Volpe, as much as a lot of fans don't like Anthony Volpe, there's no other option right now. Like, I mean, now McMahon's back at third, so you can put Cabby at short, and you can figure it out and give Volpe days off and whatever. But
Cabby should just be your everyday shortstop because he's been better, and I don't understand why they're not just going with the better guy.
But
are you trying to win a World Series, or are you just scared about hurting people?
Well, no, it's. I do understand that it's a balance because again, I do understand that you're a guy's not going to get better without playing time. I do understand that.
Like, you know what it is too is like for me, it's like I mean, for me, I am tired of Anthony Volpe. Like, I'm tired of giving him chances. But it's just like, I mean, even yesterday, he had a big moment where it's a 3-2 count. The ball's never a strike coming out of the pitcher's hand. He swings at a ball that's at his ankles for ball. It would have been ball 4, base loaded, 1 out. It could have changed the entire course of the game. And the Yankees went on to lose because of basically that was the biggest at bat of the game.
Wait, can I say something on the Volpe thing from my perspective as a casual fan? What upsets me about it is clearly Cabby's better at short. Put him at short, and the trade deadline's coming up. Just trade Volpe. There's no trade him for peanuts. I don't care. I understand. I understand that you guys want him to work, or the organization wants him to work.
That's not even my problem. Why are you going to trade somebody at the freaking just beneath the core of the earth of his trade value?
I don't care. I don't care at this point. You know why? Because to me, with all of this mess in the summer with the Yankees and really all year, just listening to you guys talk about this, my question to the Yankees brass is simple. Do you want to win a World Series, or are you just here for entertainment value?
But what does just okay? So let's take that move at face value. Trading Anthony Volpe, especially without giving him a chance to at least get hot. Forget about like actually taking another step, but at least
how long do you want to wait? How long do you want to wait? Go.
I'm just going to finish, and then because I'm going to answer that question. I'm just going to, because if you make that move, just making that move in a vacuum does nothing to improve your team. Giving Caballero more time at shortstop could improve your team. Giving a Lombard a chance to bringing him up and giving him chances. Moving Volpe over to another position. These different things could just trading Volpe at the bare bones of his trade value does not. That's my only point. Is it's not that I'm unwilling to end the Volpe experiment. It's that does. If you're talking about wanting to win a World Series, yes, of course I do. That's my priority. But trading Volpe at the pittance of his trade value does nothing to that end.
Yeah, that's fair. My thing, at least, with the Yankees and all of this, especially this summer, especially the last month and a half when we're watching a lot of World Cup and just keeping a close eye on them. I do not think, this is going to sound harsh, I don't think this organization has made any moves the past 2 years to actually try to win a World Series. And I I could be wrong, but that's kind of how this feels like to me.
I'm going
feels.
Oh, I'm going to wait you finish too.
No, it's fine. Go Scoop. But all I'm saying is I feel like they didn't make any moves this offseason that felt discernible to win a World Series. No wonder you're sitting here in June doing nothing and losing games left and right. I question whether anybody in this organization from the top level down actually think they can win a World Series this year. Go Scoop. That's my question. Do you actually think that? Does anyone in this organization feel that way?
Okay, so you asked a couple questions, so I'm going to make sure to hit each one. First and foremost, don't agree when I say when you say have they made any moves the last 2 years? Because let's go back to that. So that puts us at July of 2024. Let's remember they were in the World Series at the end of that year, and I know because I was at one of the games. And
I apologize. Last year, not 2
years.
Oh,
okay, sorry.
Let me be more specific. I was talking about this offseason.
Okay, my bad.
Yeah.
Well, the only reason because I was going to go into the Juan Soto thing and what they had to do with those resources and whatnot.
Yeah, that was more complex. That's a good point. Let's reframe that. Let's just focus on this last season into the offseason and the mess that was the Yankees offseason.
Okay, got it. So now if we go into that time frame, now I have more room to have at least more agreement with you because one, I think that the Cody Bellinger thing, I don't know, and I'll never know. No one will ever know which side really dragged their feet. That felt like it went longer than it needed to. Even though I like him as a pitcher, I don't love that Ryan Weathers was the main and the sort of cream of the crop pitching acquisition this offseason. That said, I acknowledge that you're dependent on markets. Really, no big pitchers ended up moving this offseason that we Joe Ryan didn't go like we thought he might. So yes, I agree with you. I still think there's a little more complexity to it, but I agree with you much more than when you said in the last 2 seasons.
Right, and I understand that baseball has all these complexities and intricacies, and then I feel like what's happening with this Volpe thing, it's like everybody in that organization, and I'll include Michael Kay. It just feels like everyone around that, like the day-to-day of that organization, and the media perpetrates a lot of it because it is New York. It just, I don't know. I think when I look at the Yankees offseason, I was like, it makes sense that they're in this slump because they don't know what they're doing. The lineup changes don't make sense. And again, so the big thing with the Michael Kay thing is it goes back to kind of a wider journalistic point that it wouldn't solve in fact, I think it would hurt journalism more than it would help it. But I've gotten to the point after the Diana Rossini situation specifically.
I was wondering if that name was going to come up tonight.
Yeah. I know it's not like the perfect apples to oranges example. Excuse me. I am tired of I hear this or sources say this, and I do this too. We all do this too, just because it is what the medium is.
We have no choice but to sometimes.
Right, but I also feel like, especially if you're at a high rate, like Adam Schefter. I'm sorry, like Adam Schefter. If you look at every single report he does during a season, I could tell you within maybe 10 to 15 minutes who it's from. Half the time it's from an agent, half the time it's from somebody. And Michael Kay, hearing somebody say something, it came from somebody. And that's the thing. I just wish we got to a place in media where it's like, if you're a high-ranking reporter, you tell me where this thing is from. Because
or at least be a little more clear about like an agent at least give some level of context. Like,
at least give some level
because I do understand that the other thing I do understand that you're far less likely, I guess, to get more information if the person is gonna.
Yeah, I know, and I agree, but I also hate that. I agree, but
I hate it too. But I'm saying I'm just acknowledging it as a real.
Didn't he say that he heard it apparently from like Joel Sherman? I think it was.
I don't remember him mentioning Joel Sherman's name. Now, that being said, I'm convinced that, and that I love and respect Joel Sherman. I've got very good things to say about him as a, if Michael Kay is the voice of the Yankees, I've got very good as kind of like the pen of the Yankees. I'll put him that way. But that being said, I've never seen a guy hate a player on his own team that he covers more than he has a thing against Anthony Volpe. Like he literally wrote something the other day or said something the other day that he's pretty much convinced that all the problems with the Yankees today go back to Anthony Volpe. I'm not exaggerating. He pretty much
I wouldn't say that at all, especially in the last month.
right. Well,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Like I think I think there's the opposite issue with him where if like there are just some people like we saw Colin Coward do this with Baker Mayfield. There are just some people where if they are negative on a guy or some guys they're super positive on a guy, I take it with a little bit of a grain of salt just because I know I'm not saying he has an agenda. I do not believe that at all. But he has routinely been inherently negative on Volpe. And I say going a little bit further than what I would say is just being, trying to be moderate. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. I don't know. Like we were talking about this with someone in our comment section. I forgot who was kind of commenting on me, kind of I guess flip flopping on Ronaldo a little bit when we were watching the game last week. I'm kind of on the fence about some of these things because I see someone's point of like, and we've talked about this with Ronaldo in Portugal for years, where it's like I see the comment of the team is better with Ronaldo, but there's also another side to it where they do need him. So you can be on the fence and realize that that's a thing. And so I just like it is. And then the other aspect of this, which I'm sure both of you can speak to a lot more than I can, which is the fact that I think the Yankees, more than any other team in any sport, and I could be wrong, you can give me other examples, the media training of these players and coaches is terrible. Because they're putting this on themselves to an extent. Because there's no PR training, or the PR training that they do get puts them in a position where Jazz at the beginning or a few months ago said basically he doesn't know how to play baseball to the Anthony Volpe thing and him having to navigate the situation. Because honestly, and I could be wrong.
Infield looks like Dumb and Dumber sometimes.
Yeah.
Right. But my point is like with the Yankees, there's so much pressure with the media. The media is going to say stuff. They're going to say stuff about you. They're going to say stuff about the players. They're going to be this way. And like, so, and you're going to get asked these questions, but it's how because I think part of the reason, and again, I think this is very like low hanging fruit, I guess. I think part of the reason they're so bad defensively is because the media is just harping on it and they don't know how to defend themselves. They don't have PR training to just be like, yeah, we know this is happening. This is this. The answers from Aaron Boone down the roster feel so ineffectual. They feel so wasteful. There's no PR training, so they're just deflecting every single question. And it's like, you're the Yankees. You have to have some PR training to understand how this media apparatus works in New York. It is the hardest media group to please, to satisfy, unless you win a title. Where's the PR training? A lot of it goes back to the PR training for the Yankees is awful.
We've talked about we've talked about that a few times, not just with Chisholm, but with a couple of other things. Like it which is interesting to me because I feel like the Yankees have gotten a little bit of like luck over the last year or two. Because I feel like a couple of these things that could have gotten much more negative publicity and maybe should have at times, I feel like they got lucky that it died as quickly as it did, or at least it got pushed off as quickly as it did. Brandon, you're about to say something.
No, you know what bothers me? Like this is also why like there's a lot of Yankee fans who will also watch the post game stuff and then whatever, and I'm like, like if Aaron Boone says something dumb in the post game, like I'll like see that quote or whatever, and I'll go back and watch it. But 9 times out of 10, I won't watch the post game, and it's like because I'm also just the New York market is the one market that I just can't stand, obviously because it's a big market. But I'm tired of hearing like if I want answers to a question, like. As a reporter, as a journalist, you are taught to ask questions and thought-provoking questions that don't cross a certain line.
Yeah.
But I don't like how almost every reporter in the New York media, not so much with other teams, but specifically when it comes to the Yankees, it's got to me something with the Yankees organization. I'm almost convinced they're telling these reporters that you can't ask this. Like there's a whole checklist of things they can't ask.
Oh yeah, and I think
Because-
that's what the PR department is for for the Yankees brass versus actually telling these players, "Hey, this is how you approach this question. This is how you approach this question." As a reporter, I expect your players to have proper PR training, as we did, as we're also thought to do in this
In
business.
college.
Yeah. I also
Yeah.
just want reporters asking better questions than what I hear every single day after a Yankees game.
I like Meredith Morakovitz, but if I have to hear, what do you think made XYZ so effective tonight?
Oh,
One more time.
Oh my God. Okay, so this is my thing, and I do interviews for AWA Wiffle Ball and stuff, and it's really fun because it's like we just have fun with the interviews, and we ask some thought provoking questions and stuff, but we also we have some fun with it. It made me kind of realize how much like in between interviews or in between inning interviews kind of suck because you can't really ask anything that's like thought provoking, and you're not going to get anything thought provoking because they're sweaty and tired. It's just what it is. And so
Yeah.
I just, someone who loves doing that job, I have very clearly noticed that it's not really the most accurate way to describe a game or a situation.
Yeah. Well, see, but like on the field is to me is a lot different than post game. Post game, you have a chance to collect your thoughts and your notes, and besides, you're actually watching the game, so you can
Right.
take notes on things. I'll never forget when I said to I told you guys this story, but I told my grandfather one time about Meredith asking just what I thought was a dumb question in a post game, and I'm like, I've heard this question 5 times this week. Why is she starting with the same question every time? And I'm like, well, my grandfather's like, well, how would you ask it? I'm like, literally in 10 to 15 seconds, I came up with a well better thought out and worded question than anything she came up with that week. I'm
Yeah.
like, it's not that hard if you know how to ask that. And the thing is, that's a lost art in journalism, is how to actually properly ask a question.
Yeah.
Like it's because you have journalism. This is also why if you're a journalist, 9 times out of 10, your best subject in school growing up was English and reading and writing. So, you have to know how to ask a question, because asking a coach what makes a player so effective in today's game is a lot different than rewording that question as something like, what did you see in his at bat during the 5th inning that turned the tide of the game? Or like, what did you see in his approach at the plate in that 5th inning that when they tied the game, when he got the hit that tied? Like, that's a way better way of asking that question than
Most
saying,
of the time in wiffle ball, that's kind of our baseline of the question is, what do you see in that home run? Because it's wiffle ball, right? There's only so much you can ask.
Mm-hmm.
But it is very much like, oh, what did you see in this, or this funny moment, or how are the players reacting in the dugout to this certain thing?
Like,
it is very and also, but again, those are baseline baseball questions or wiffle ball questions that people want to know.
They feel more like softball questions.
Or like you know what I
Yeah.
want, you know what I like
Wow,
I
that
want to
just
ask
went
too, is like there's times where I see, like in a game for baseball, and obviously, like I said, I love situational baseball. I love like how a defense will align themselves for a certain play, and I'm like, there's times where it's like, they'll play like an aggressive shift against a hitter that's like, 60% of the time he's gonna hit the ball to the right side. Not every single fielder should be shifting towards second base and almost the first. It's like, I don't want the whole left side of the field open unless that hitter has a 99% chance of hitting it to the right side of the field. Like, there's a lot of times where it's like, well, a hitter kind of favors this side. I'm like, but then that's where in the post game, when that hitter does slap a ball the other way through the hole, gets like a slap double or whatever it is,
gets a double that leads to a run or something like that.
Like, I don't think you need to be playing seven fielders all deep against Luis Arias.
Like that. That's like, those are the questions I want reporters to be. That's not crossing a line to ask a question like that.
No.
So it's like, but the problem is, I never see New York reporters ask those questions to the Yankees. I'm like, why aren't you asking it?
Well, here's the problem. Okay, and I'm gonna probably tick off Brandon when I say some of this stuff. I'm not convinced that the Yankees have enough reporters who are well versed in the actual data science that
That's
the
also
Yankees
true.
use.
Yeah. I'm
I'm
not the best at talking about baseball, but also that's the thing. I admit that when I talk about baseball with you guys, like I'm not here
Right.
like,
Like,
and
and I
that's
admit that when I
fine.
talk
But
about like
again, you can't.
soccer or things of that nature,
Yeah.
or F1,
Whatever.
Formula F1.
Or it's like you also got to think too. A lot of people in that field. I mean, a lot of them grew up playing sports. A lot of people, but a lot of reporters didn't grow up playing that sport. Like
Yeah.
I grew up playing baseball, and I played baseball for 7 years, so I understand the game. Like
Yeah.
I understand how it should be played and what should be. Like yesterday, you know, like Garrett Cole pitched a good game, pitched a 6 and a third innings of 3-run ball. But even though he wasn't going to win that game anyway, and the Yankees weren't going to win that game anyway because they got shut out, I had a problem with a couple innings where, like, and I said this before on the show, pitch selection doesn't make sense. Pitch location doesn't make sense. The the count in which you throw a certain pitch, like that there was a couple times where I'm watching. There was one at bat, I forget who was up, but it was a lefty hitter. He kept going inside with the fastball, both with the 4-seam and the 2-seam. Kept going. He must have went inside about 5 times at bat. Kept getting fouled off. I think it was a 2-2 count, whatever it was, or it might have been 3-2. He goes back inside again, gets burned, rips a double like into the outfield, or I think even a big single that drives in a run. It was with 2 outs or whatever it was. I'm like, well, that can be avoided if you don't keep trying to pick out the same spot and throw the same pitch to that batter, especially like when you know that a left-handed hitter, their sweet spot is kind of like just inside on the corner of that plate where they can pull it, where they can turn on it. So it's like, especially for a ball that's from a righty that's going to come across to a lefty and come across the plate where they can just follow the ball, pull it down the line. Like, that's why I'm like, everybody's like, oh, well, Garrett Cole pitched a good game, which he did. But in my eyes, I'm always looking, because just for everything I do in my life, I try to be like a perfectionist. Even though no one's perfect, I try to be. I'm like, it was great, but it could have been better, and here's why, kind of thing. Because I'm just like,
and that's what the Yankees are supposed to be about.
And that's why I'm like, what was it? They had a conference on the mound yesterday. It was between Austin Wells and Cole, and the whole infield kind of came in. They were talking about, like, they're discussing, obviously where to go to next in the at-bat to try to get the out. The very next pitch was a flat fastball right down the middle. I'm like, oh my! I'm like, guys.
What the hell did you talk about?
Like, anything.
What was the mound visit about? What did we do?
What were you guys talking about? I would love to know. Like, because
you're talking about what do you have for dinner tomorrow? Probably.
I guess. Yeah. I mean, is Austin Wells going to Anthony Volpe's house for some chicken parm? Is that what it is? Like, I would love to know. But it's like, it's just, I just want reporters to, like, when they see things like that in the game, to pick up on that and kind of dig into those things. Like, I know that they.
And you're saying like in the post game, because like in between you can't really do that, but like in a post game presser, and this is the stuff that should be asked.
Because these are the things you're supposed to be taking notes on, and like that's why it's like this goes back to the whole Michael Kay and Volpe thing. It's like you're bringing all these guys in some way, shape, or form, bringing it on themselves because they just don't know how to go about the journalistic side of this, and it's like. Or just the simple baseball side of this, like just how to answer a normal baseball question. And it's like,
I just feel like not to cut you off, but I just feel like so much of this just goes back to the Yankees PR department. That's kind of how I just constantly feel that way about every question and every answer.
The indictment to Jason Zillow.
Yeah, it's just that's just how I feel about it. I feel like, as you said, Brandon, like the PR department is like either saying you can't ask this, you can't ask that, and so I think there's that. And I think there's also an aspect of they don't train the players to answer these questions right at all or with any semblance of understanding. So that's really what it comes down to me is like, I don't know. I feel like once every 2 weeks, I see Aaron Boone say something silly or Jazz say something silly. Even Aaron Judge say something that I'm like,
Wait,
why
what did
would
Aaron
you?
Judge say?
I'm just giving examples. I'm just like,
No, but I'm
I
asking
feel like
for the example.
I can't think of it off the top of my head. All I'm saying is I think this entire roster doesn't know how to answer a simple question
Like,
without them saying something that goes viral on MLB Twitter.
you know,
You don't like fix this.
like I feel the worst, and it's crazy because as much as I want him off the team and I don't like him, I do feel bad for Anthony Volpe in this instance because if I was in his shoes, you have to think about it this way. And like we just said before, your trade stock has completely tanked, which is why if they were going to get rid of him, it should have been last year at the deadline. Because he would have had some value left because he was coming off the 2024
I don't
World playoff performance.
I don't
So-
think he would have after that injury with everything. I think his
Yeah,
value
but
last year.
the
I think
thing
his
is, you
value
gotta-
would have been worse.
The thing is, for me, it's like the thing is like now it really is like now it's as low as it could possibly get. I think you would have gotten something at least last year.
I think
But
they tried, honestly. I think that they tried.
I mean, I wish I would have heard about it. 'Cause I didn't hear much about it if they did.
Well, I'm sure
but
they didn't want to. I mean, look at what happened with Jalen Brown.
that's like but I feel bad for Volpe right now in this current
Yeah.
instance. As much as I don't care for him as a player at this point, because the trade stock couldn't be lower. The play on the field literally cannot get worse than what it is. I mean, you've already been given such a long leash for the last this is the fourth year already. Like, you're not panning out like the high expectations that everybody placed on him, which also put him under pressure. So it's like
That did not help at all. And I and you know this, that I hate that about sports. Like this guy still wet on the beak, and he's not. And we're already trying to put him in Cooperstown
and
or
it's like
Naismith or whatever.
okay, at least there was some promise with him his rookie year because he was great with the glove. Just the bat didn't come around. But we're like, okay, we can excuse that. It's his rookie year. But then here comes the Florida weather coming soon. So then you've got 2023. Then the defense starts declining and the bat is kind of staying where it is. Then 24, then it really gets bad. But then he picks it up. He has a great postseason performance in 2024. But outside of 2024, if you take that 2024 postseason away, he's been declining each year since his rookie year, and it's been declining by a lot. And it's like, it's just some guys have it and some guys don't, and it's pretty clear that this was a miss on the scouting department for the Yankees. But it's like, it's just I feel bad for him because it's like at this point there's nothing more he can do, and it's really bad for him because now that he's playing, now when he does play, when guys were injured for a good chunk of a month of this season, everybody's like, oh well, why is he starting at short and not Cabby? I'm like, because Cabby has to play third because McMahon's hurt, or because Trent Grisham was out, so they had to put Jones in center and Belly in right or whatever it is. Like that, they had no other options.
You know what's crazy?
Like, yeah.
His batting average right now, 242, highest it's been like of any year of his career, and his OBP is 340.
Yeah.
It's his power that is absolutely just nil.
It's just gone. Like I don't know why.
And his strikeout number, his strikeout rate is the lowest it's been. Like it's lower than each of the first three seasons. Like that's the unfortunate part, is that numerically speaking, like if you're just like looking at literally anything but his power, this is actually his best season offensively. It's just that because the game becomes so power heavy. But here's the thing for me is that he was never supposed to be a power guy.
Yeah.
So the reason why I'm holding out a little more hope, I guess, than some people is because is this the transition back to the profile that he was supposed to be? Is he trying to refine his old game? Because his old game was contact, was speed, was defense. His defense this year, excuse me, I don't have the numbers in front of me right now, and I'm working on getting them up. But he was just, because he had been, basically they had tried to remake him, or he tried to remake himself. My guess is a combination of the two. into such a specific type of player. And I wonder now, because again, if you actually look at his numbers, now his counting numbers, obviously 1 homer, not great. 7 stolen bases. I don't think that's actually terrible. He's played 42 games. You multiply that out to, a full season, that's a mid-20s, close to 30 stolen bases. So if you just get me that batting average up a little bit, if you get me to 260 at the end of the season with still that 340 OBP, I don't think he's having a terrible season all around. Is he having the top prospect season? No. But as a if you can again, and if you I do still believe if you move him to second base, I still think there's a starting caliber player there.
I think there is a starting caliber player there. I just don't think it's in New York.
That's a fair assessment.
Like, I just don't. I don't know. Because especially when you have Lombard waiting in the wings, especially if his bat just gets better, because the glove's
I'm
already
pull
there.
up his numbers right now because I haven't checked on him recently.
I haven't checked in a while. That's why I'm not sure.
I'm checking right now.
But from what I know, like Lombard's, we know his glove at third and at short at both positions is incredible.
Holy
So
juicy mother!
What?
Is it really good?
Did not mean to say that, but so this year at the across both AA and AAA, combined 62 games played, 8 homers, 12 stolen bases, combined batting line of 258, OBP 387, slugging average 446. So the OPS that adds out to 833. Walk rate of over 16, strikeout rate of 21%, and WRC plus of 124. Now that's combined between the two. If you go just to the AAA, 42 games, so that's 4 homers. So that's going to be about 15 across a full season, which is fine. 8 stolen bases, that again around 30 for a full season, it's about the same as Volpe. 18% walk rate, that strikeout rate about 21 is again. Batting average still not where I love it. It's actually lower than Volpe's 231. I don't love that. Slugging 385 and OBP 381. So quite honestly, these numbers not all that different from Anthony Volpe at the major league level this year.
I think it's just the defensive side. That's the thing, is that the glove is so good. It just the hitting needs to just come around. Like the glove to me.
The problem that I have though is that he's made 7 errors at the AAA level this year.
Has he already? Really?
Yes. Volpe, do you know how many errors Volpe's made at the major league level this year?
What?
I know he's
15. It feels like.
It feels like 15.
Yeah, it feels like.
Yeah, try 3, bro.
Wow.
3. But you also got to realize he hasn't started that many games. So it's
3, but it also feels like every time he's playing defense, he's always going to be something
here's the thing
sloppy
too.
at the end.
He's had a lot of near errors because
you said he hasn't started. I just gave you his 7 errors at the AAA level. He's played more games at the major league level than Lombard has at the AAA level. So he's made fewer errors in more games, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but how many games has Volpe started this year?
42. I'm sorry, started 37.
Okay, yeah, that's about right. But then the thing is, what if you do, what is that, basically 4 times that? That's still about what, 12 errors? That's
yeah,
still,
Lombard in just the 20-ish games he's had at the AAA level,
got
it's already more than half of that.
Okay, so I think
I'm not disagreeing with you that I'm big time on Lombard,
yeah,
but I'm just saying that I'm not necessarily going Volpe to Lombard, that being the progression at this time.
I will say I do want to see if all the errors are really on Lombard, like, because remember, there's been a game this year where Volpe's had a lot of near errors where it's like the ball's been high and like Goldschmidt and Rice have to make a great catch and get the out. Like there's been times like that. That's why I want, because I know for a fact that there's been a lot of times where Volpe's thrown the ball into the dirt trying to get the ball across the diamond, or making a throw wide where the first baseman has to like literally do a split almost to get the out. Like there's a lot of near. I think there's a lot of near errors that have been saved. So I want to see if that's possible. If they can find numbers on that.
Well, the unfortunate part about it is fans say they want him to be the next Jeter. Unfortunately, that's a little bit too on the nose.
Yeah, the thing is like, Derek Jeter was a guy. I mean, and this is just obvious, but he was a guy where you could live with the errors because he made so many big time plays, and not just that, but he's one of the greatest hitters of all time. So, like, Derek Jeter literally is, over 3,400 hits in his career, 310 batting average, multiple gold gloves back when they meant something. A guy that literally could only make the jump throw, was the only guy who could make that kind of throw from the outfield.
He made the hard stuff look easy and the easy stuff look hard.
That's the thing. But the thing is the knock on Jeter and why he could, like, people are like, oh, well, he wasn't a good fielder. But I'm like, but in his profile, it says that he wasn't good with range. So, like, he was never a guy that had a ton of, like, quick lateral movement.
No.
But if you needed him with the game on the line to get to a ball in the hole and make a play, he absolutely would. That's the difference. And it's like, it's just, to me, guys like that are the guys you appreciate because they know their limitations, but they make the most of every opportunity they're given. And that's what makes, and that's also why I'm pissed that Jeter wasn't a unanimous Hall of Famer, because they used the whole number, the fielding percentage against him. And I'm like, but you have to realize he was never a great fielder, even back in the minor leagues. So, like, it was just that was never going to be a part of his game anyway.
No, but you know what? I mean, let's think about this. The only unanimous Hall of Famer still, I think, is Mariano. I mean, what was the flaw in Mariano's game? The one hit off of him in 2001.
Yeah.
Like was it 2001 or 2004? But
I still think Eachor should have been unanimous too.
I would agree with you on that. I would agree.
Wasn't
with you
he fairly close?
He was close.
Wasn't he like a vote or two away from that?
So many guys. But I'm just saying, like, if you ask me a guy that, like, if you just straight up ask me who is the player, if I told you one player was going to be unanimous, I probably would have said Mariano over Jeter, as crazy as it's going to sound to Yankees fans. I don't know, especially because of the manner in which he was called upon. Like, he was called upon in the consistently, like, what was that one stat? Like, more guys have walked on the moon than have scored off of him in the postseason. Yeah. When do you think Eli Manning going to the Hall of
bro? We how many times have we talked about Eli in the Hall of Fame? How many times? A lot.
I want on the record, Mr. Hathaway, I'm saying this as a diehard Eagles fan, he should already be in.
I've always said he should be in, depending on who he's up against. And the last few times he's been up against a lot.
Early on, I believed that Eli wasn't. But as I've grown up and realized things, I mean, like, the two great Super Bowl runs put him in. Like, two great Super Bowl runs will put almost any quarterback in. But it's just.
But also, I feel like it kind of is valid though.
No. I just feel like people, and I've said this multiple times, I just feel like people are thinking too low about the Hall of Fame. A big problem.
In general, I think that's the case.
Yes. But the big problem, as someone who, talks about the NFL and thinks about the NFL 24/7, 365, the thing about the Pro Football Hall of Fame is you have to look at the crop that he's up against.
Yeah.
The last 2 years that he's been up, the crop has been extremely good. And you could make a case for almost every single one as to why he didn't get in based on the crop that was available.
You've got to think about his era. He was never a top 5 quarterback in his era. Yeah. Like Big Ben, Phillip Rivers, Drew Brees, his own brother, Like,
Yeah.
I don't
you
know if I
know,
would say Philip. Was Philip
Well,
Rivers ever a top 5 quarterback in
Rivers
an era?
was better than
it
Manning
was
and
up there.
Eli.
I just my whole thing with this Eli Manning Hall of Fame conversation is I'm at the point where I just want it to stop. This is a stupid conversation, and I'm done with it until next year. Because I just don't understand why we have to keep having this conversation about him
Yeah,
like it's this
I mean, I mean,
rightful debate. Who
I mean,
cares at this point? He
I mean,
doesn't even care
I,
about it. So why are we talking about it
Because
every
you know
month?
why? Because Giants fans believe he's first ballot, and to me, it's like, but here's a problem with that. Once again, like we're saying, it's not first ballot versus second ballot, whatever it is. It's like, it's who you're up against, and it's like,
Yes.
you know, if he's up against guys like Breeze and his own brother, he's not getting in.
He was
He's
he was
not.
up against Luke Kuechly and Larry Fitzgerald this
Like
last run.
like
What do you
those
expect?
like those guys are clear. And remember, there's only a certain amount of there's only a certain amount of guys that go in every year. Like I mean,
We're talking about him going into the modern wing. Do you know
yeah.
how hard the modern wing is in right now in
There's been
2026?
guys.
Do you know how hard it is to get into the modern
There's
wing
been
of the
guys
Pro Football
waiting for
Hall of
over
Fame?
25 years that should have been in already. That's how long it is to wait. Like there's like I said it for years. Even I didn't watch him play. Even Deion Sanders said this. Why the hell did Eric Allen have to wait over 20 years? Like Eric Allen was a guy that shouldn't. Eric Allen was one of the best cornerbacks of the 90s. He's arguably the one of the top 3 cornerbacks in Eagles history. He shouldn't have had to wait 20 years. Like or I think it was over 20. It was almost 25. Like the thing is it's the crowd now if you want to do the whole ballot argument, I've always stood firm by this. Eli Manning is not a first ballot Hall of Famer. He is
No,
not,
hell no.
not,
But
not.
he was not. So why
Yeah.
are we going back? But I understand
Well, I'm
that
just saying
Giants fans.
if.
Yes,
Like if
I
that's the argument.
understand. I understand that Giants fans are gonna like constantly push him being in, but I'm at the point with this conversation where it's like, okay, let's see who the crop is next year, and then we can have a conversation. I don't want to have a conversation about someone's Hall of Fame candidacy anymore, especially with the Pro Football Hall of Fame, until I see who all the nominees are.
Yeah.
If we don't see who the nominees are, then we're just comparing apples to oranges.
Rob, I just want to point this out as far as the show is concerned. These are different people asking this, so I don't really want to hold it against certain people who haven't asked before that were getting asked.
I'm just saying as a whole.
No, I know, but
This
I'm also just saying it's not somebody's fault if they're asking a question that somebody else asked.
No, that's not my point. My point is this Eli Manning Hall of Fame conversation. There's no point in having the conversation without understanding how the Pro Football Hall of Fame actually works and what the voting process actually is. Because I feel like the majority of people that are asking, should a guy be in the Hall of Fame in any sport, just does it blindly without understanding how the voting process is done. You're blindly having conversations at a bar that isn't worth having if you don't understand every single piece of criteria.
You also got to think too. A lot of people are casual fans of the sport. They're not looking at it as in depth as we are. Like so, it's like they understand the sport, but they look at it as like we also remember a lot of people, especially especially older people, like people over the age basically of 40, middle age and up. They didn't grow up with the modern way of thinking about a Hall of Fame. They grew up with, is this guy in? Yes or no, and that was it, black and white.
But that's not how it is. That's not how it is.
But that's what I'm saying is that but the thing is like we evolve as time goes on. So it's like we understand more and more and more than previous generations. And the thing is, 2 or 3 generations down the line from us will understand more and more and more. But it's I still like those debates though, even though they're not the greatest, kind of benchmark of like the worth of a player or the career of a player. I still like those debates because there's different ways you can look at it.
Yeah.
But I think at the end of the day, you have to take it like saying yes or no to a question without understanding it fully will always put you in a kind of an awkward situation.
That's exactly how. That's a better way to put it than I could have put it. That's exactly how I feel about the Eli Manning conversation at this point. Is that it's a non-nuanced conversation that needs context broader than just, oh, this is his numbers, this is the Super Bowls. When the Pro Football Hall of Fame now is completely centered around who are you up against in this round of voting.
Yeah.
That's what it is centered around in 2026. So that's what it needs to be centered around. It should not be centered around a yes or no conversation.
And the thing is, like you know, and like I've said too, is like, you know, they don't openly say this, but I've seen MLB Hall of Famers, the Hall of Fame voters do the same thing. It was like, how good were you for your era? Like, what were you like in your era? So, like, you know, it's not just the numbers, it's not just the Super Bowls, it's not just the who you're. It's and a large part of it is who you're up against in that crop, in that class, and it's like you also got to think about it too. It's like, you know, you can't be mad about a guy, like really mad about a guy when he wasn't considered like top 5 in his like, especially at quarterback. Like, other guys get in because receivers is a big deal, you know, defensive lineman, big deal. Like, so top 5, that's not. But for quarterbacks, if you were never considered top 5 at any point in your era, like, to me that doesn't. Then to me it's like, then I have to that automatically like disqualifies one thing, and it makes it harder for me to look at you as like I need to see then what you're like. Then I start diving into the numbers of like, what are your numbers? What are your accomplishments? Who are you up against in your Hall of Fame class that you are being judged against? Like, because if the Hall of Fame class, like we're saying, if the Hall of Fame class was something like let's say it was like, let's say that we take a handful of, like, let's just say 5 guys, and the class was Eli and, like, you know, I'm not saying that these guys aren't Hall of Famers, but like Eli and like Hines Ward and, like, you know, different kinds of like guys, or like Joseph Adai, like kind of a weaker kind of class.
What a pull that was.
Like okay. So hold on. I'm just gonna say this right off the bat. The 2026 Hall of Fame class that we're gonna see next month is Drew Brees, Larry Fitz, Luke Kuechly, Adam Vinatieri, and your senior finalist was Roger Craig. I'm sorry, Eli does not get in with that crop.
Exactly.
He just does not.
No, yeah.
Good luck next year. I'm sorry.
And wait, if you go through that, so Drew Brees, right? Drew Brees, obviously one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game. And at some points was either 1 or 2 in the same era that Eli played in. So, like, you know, so it's like that right there. It's like Drew Brees automatically has way more, you know, reason to be in over Eli. You know, Roger Craig's been waiting a long time. You know, a lot of people will talk about Roger Craig's numbers, but Roger Craig has the Super Bowls, and for his era, he was a dominant running back and a force for his era. So, like, he gets in. Adam Vinatieri, one of the greatest kickers to ever play the game,
if not the greatest. Not the greatest.
And he's got the Super Bowl, or Super Bowls, I should say. So
not only has he got the Super Bowls, he's kicked to win Super Bowls.
Exactly. Yeah. He actually has game like literally playoff and Super Bowl game-winning kicks. So, like, he's in, and the things he's been waiting a long time. So, like, he has to get in. Like, you know. Oh, and who else was in that class? Who would you say?
Okay. So Larry Fitzgerald and Luke Kuechly.
I mean, are you going to tell?
And by the way, Luke Kuechly, people could complain that, oh my God, it's too early. Listen, Luke Kuechly is the smartest defensive player of our generation. I've never seen someone that smart about football than Luke Kuechly.
Luke Kuechly also retired. He also retired way too early because of injuries. If he wasn't injured, he'd be arguably one of the top 5 linebackers to ever play the game.
And I still could make that argument. And Larry Fitzgerald, if you want to debate Larry Fitzgerald and Eli Manning, I don't know what to tell you. If you really want to debate that, get out of here.
You can't debate that, because Larry Fitzgerald, there's literally people, and this is analysts and people like us and other people that do shows all around the world, will tell you that Larry Fitzgerald, you can make the case that he is a top 10 receiver all time.
He is one of the most. This is the best word I can put. Larry Fitzgerald is majestic. Every time NFL Network puts on anything of his, I get mesmerized. His movements, his decision making at the line of scrimmage in terms of how to beat a guy, how to beat a defender. I've never seen anything like it.
What was his stat about drops? Because he didn't have a ton. Like, wasn't there a stat like he had like it was something crazy?
I don't know, but
he had like no drops, whatever it was, like that he had. Was it?
And by the way, his quarterback run wasn't that great in Arizona either. He did what he did.
He put up those numbers that he did with
Kevin Cobb.
With
hey.
Well, I mean, listen, it is true, but with Kevin Cobb, I mean, what? Like he got a year and a half of good Carson Palmer and maybe 3 good years of Kurt Warner, and that was it. Nothing else.
So look. I found the list. So here's the list. The list of quarterbacks in Larry Fitzgerald's career: Josh McCown, Sean King, John Navarre, Kurt Warner, Tim Ratley, Matt Leinart, Brian St. Pierre, Derek Anderson, Cobb, Matt Hall, John Skelton, Richard Barnell, Brian Hoyer, Ryan Lindsley, Carson Palmer, Drew Stanton, Blaine Gabbert, Josh Rosen, Sam Bradford, Brett Hundley, Mike Glennon, and Kyler Murray.
Oh my!
I mean,
God.
Jesus, 22 guys.
And only 2 guys. And only 2 of them were good.
You said at least 3 names I've never heard of.
And only 2 of them were good. And they weren't even good for that long. Kurt Warner was the best one. Carson Palmer was like 1 good year.
After Warner and Palmer, these are the guys he threw at least half a touch. He threw more, or he caught, more touchdowns from these guys than he did from Kyler Murray. Josh McCown, John Skelton, and Josh Rosen.
So what do you want me to tell you?
Like, you also got to realize that pretty much him and Kurt Warner dragged the carcass of the Cardinals to a Super Bowl against the Steelers.
And they played very well in that Super Bowl.
And I can say that because I watched Larry Fitzgerald burn our damn defense in that championship game. So
I'm glad you saw that, because if I saw that, oh my God.
Like I said, that is the first heartbreak I've ever known in professional sports. And
that's probably what would have been mine. That's probably what would have been mine. Mine was probably the 2012 ALCS against the Tigers.
Oh, but it's like, it's just like
Raul Ibanez.
I mean, when you think about like Eli doesn't have a single case over any one of those players. Getting in on that.
And again, I'm not even putting Roger Craig on that list, because they do put in a senior guy who deserves to get in every year, and rightfully so.
Roger Craig's been waiting long enough anyway. So
to get in the senior wing. So yeah. Anything else before we go, guys? Is that it? Manning is not a type of quarterback during his time with the Giants. Look at the quarterbacks he was up against in his career every year.
So it's like here's the thing. Obviously every team had like a different number of quarterbacks while he's with the Giants. But why you feel like he's not a top 5 during his time with the Giants? Because this is gonna sound ridiculous, because I can name 5 quarterbacks better than him.
He wasn't better than his brother. He wasn't better than Drew Brees. He wasn't better than Phillip Rivers. He's got the rings, but he wasn't better statistically than Phillip Rivers. He wasn't better than Big Ben. He wasn't better than Brett Favre. That's 5 guys right there.
The fact that you didn't name Tom Brady is driving me crazy.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's 5 guys right there without even naming the GOAT. Like, that's so you're getting this. Like, there's at least probably 8 quarterbacks you could probably name before you get to Eli. So that's why. I know that Giants fans love me. I have every right to. And the thing is, he was great in the 2 Super Bowl. Like, here's the thing, too, also. And that's why I tell Giants fans, as much as they don't want to hear this, it's the truth. I'm not saying this because I'm an Eagles fan. I'm saying this because it's the truth. Take the 2 Super Bowl runs out of it, which you can't do. But I'm saying take the 2 Super Bowl runs out of it and look at his career numbers. He was not that good of a quarterback. He was a turnover machine who had worse numbers than Brett Favre.
Can I say something that might sound kind of bad? And I apologize if it does. God. It's almost like debating if Joe Flacco has a Hall of Fame career.
Mm.
Is it?
No.
No, Eli's still way better than him.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, I know that's the running gag on our show is Joe Flack Goat.
But also, I'll add this: Flacco won Super Bowl.
Yeah, but Flacco. I mean, the thing with Flacco,
Flacco won one Super Bowl. Eli, the thing that's most annoying about that is that you're making me defend a Giants quarterback. But
my whole thing with Joe Flacco, and I don't think this makes him a Hall of Famer, but this makes it like the fact that you could still make an argument that he's a top 35 quarterback today is insane. It says a lot about his career.
I mean, that makes him more a Jamie Moyer or Bartolo Colon than anything.
See, Joe, I was a big Joe Flacco guy like early on in his career.
So was I.
I thought he was decent, especially look at the time.
I have Flack Teague at this point.
Like, look at Joe Flacco early on in his career. For his era, he was actually putting up pretty good numbers.
Yes.
For his era.
Yes.
So like, it's just that it was not a long enough peak, but it's just that like, I look at guys, I would say, it's just. And here's the thing, too. Eli had a great 2 Super Bowl runs, but he also had 2 of the best defenses also. The one run he did.
Yeah.
But we also got to think, look at it this way, too. So, okay, maybe not the best two defenses, but like in those 2 games, like if they don't completely shut down Tom Brady, we're not talking about 2-time Super Bowl champion Eli Manning. We're talking about freaking 9-time Tom Brady,
9-time Tommy.
So I as much as Eli gets credit for some of the late game throws, and which listen, you can't go back. It's all revisionist history. I understand that. Those defenses won those Super Bowls, not Eli Manning. So that's why I'm like, I don't hate Eli. It's like I still believe he is a Hall of Famer, but I don't think he's clear cut like Giants fans want to make him. He's not clear cut.
Well, yeah. Here's what I'll say. This I'm sorry, 2011 Super Bowl. If you're throwing 40 passes and still throwing up 104 passer rating, to me that's you did something significant to win that fucking game. So oh god.
Well, no, I know what you meant. It's just like, to me, it's like, defense will always win the championship, and that's just the long and short of it. But I just look at how low scoring the games were, and I'm like, okay, to me, it's like, you can throw 40 passes and you can have a great passer rating. It's just, how much of it is basically like big time throws. How much of it is, game winners? Like the David Tyree thing is insane. That throw was insane. The escapability is insane. That's a play that will live on in NFL history. And that's one of the wonders of Eli Manning. But, it's just, is he a Hall of Famer? Yes. But he has to wait his turn like everybody else.
I'll put it in baseball terms. If you gave him a 10-year run where you get 10 consecutive ballots.
Yep.
He's not a
We're all tired. You're good.
He's not a 1 or a 2 for me. He's closer to a 5 or a 6 or somewhere around there. And depending on who's on those, maybe even closer to a 7 or 8.
That's what I'm saying.
He gets in by the last ballot.
I'm just so tired. I'm so tired of Giants fans dragging this conversation through the mud. Look, you have nothing to talk about because your team sucks and your stadium sucks. Stop making this your life.
Do we still have to call it New York, New Jerkopotamus Stadium?
Yes, for another week.
Up until the 19th, yeah.
I'm just saying, I'm sorry. This is how I feel about this conversation. I'm so done with it. Giants fans, you have a fun season coming up. You have a new coach. Let's talk about that, and then we can talk about the Eli Manning thing next summer. There's no point to this conversation anymore. We've had it 7 times. I'm so done.
You know what I'm thinking of too is also look at the guy. I mean, because when I'm thinking of Eli's era, I also can't believe we forgot Aaron Rodgers.
True.
Aaron Rodgers is another one. So like, and in the words of Aaron Rodgers, for Giants fans, RELAX.
RELAX.
Relax. Because Eli will get in when he gets in. That's the long and short of all this conversation. He'll get in when he gets in. The fact
And
that
I'm
he's
not saying he won't get in. He'll get in. But the fact that
He
he's
will get
not
in.
in now shouldn't matter that much.
exactly.
It just shouldn't.
It's you're making a mountain out of a molehill. Like it's not that serious that he's not in right now because he doesn't deserve to be in right now.
It
Because
just shows me that Giants fans are like, we have nothing to talk about with the New York Giants. Let's just talk about this because we can talk about it.
like
Relax,
when
dude.
you like listen, like Michael Strahan, we all know is one of the best defenders of his era. Like Michael Strahan, we all know. Like Strahan's got all the numbers and
Greatest teeth of all time, by the way.
His teeth is crazy. That's
That's
the
true.
most Rob thing I've
But-
ever heard in my life.
But it's like
It's true.
like
That's
it's like
true.
but
It's
it's like
true.
but
If
so
you
many
had Michael Strahan teeth, we would actually get hinge matches, but we
What?
don't.
I wish I had Michael Strahan money.
Yeah, baby.
But like, but it's like, Michael Strahan, a lot of Giants fans will put like Eli on that level of greatness, that Mike was on. I'm like,
Over Mike, bro. Come
like,
on.
no, I'm saying they'll put him on that level, and I'm like, not comparing two players, but like the love they have for Strahan is the same love they have for Eli, and I understand that's one of your franchise guys. I understand it, but Michael Strahan in that era and at his position was one of the most dominant players ever of that era. Eli Manning was never
He's one of the
that.
most dominant players in the NFL. Period.
Yeah.
Period. Full
Like,
stop.
And honestly, if you want to go like peak for peak, like in like season, like for certain seasons, when Kurt Warner was at his peak, he was a better quarterback than Eli Manning. That's just a fact. Like
Yeah.
Well,
Kurt Warner was like,
yeah.
I'm not saying he's a better quarterback overall, but if you want to go like season for season, like greatest show on turf and the things he did with the Cardinals and his story, like you can make a case for him. So it's like
I'm glad you mentioned his story because I got a question when you're done.
Yeah. I don't hate Eli at all as an Eagles fan. I mean, I love kicking his ass twice a year, but like, I went
And yet
to,
he still threw the most touchdowns in his career against Philly over anybody else.
and it's just so funny. It's like all the games I went to, the 2 or 3 I went to when he played against us, he threw back-breaking interceptions in all three of them. So I'm like, it's like I love.
He said go big or go home, and he did both.
Like the thing is, Eli, I do give credit because Eli is from that era where it's like, he's from the last era of, I would say, what's called like the true gunslingers.
Yeah,
Where it's
gunslingers.
Like that's where I get like Philip
He
Rivers.
was Josh Allen before Josh Allen existed.
Like the only gunslinger left in the NFL like is Josh Allen. Like I can't think of one on the top of my head.
As a
like,
pure gunslinger. I mean,
As a
I
pure
think
gunslinger?
I think Baker to me is a close second.
Baker to me.
I love Baker, but I don't think he's got quite enough of an arm to call him a gunslinger.
That's fine. I'm just thinking like
The thing is, when I
think he has a
gunslinger
gunslinger mentality more than he has a gunslinger arm.
that's fair. It's funny when we think about modern gunslingers. It's funny that I always go back to Patrick Mahomes and hold for a second. The reason why I think about him in that gunslinger category is I remember him as a prospect because when he was a prospect coming out. We thought he was going to be like a Brett Favre type. He's evolved way beyond that.
Yeah.
But I always remember him as a prospect.
Brett Favre type outside of him is Justin Herbert, who should still be playing baseball because he throws his best ball in October.
Like, see, like when I think about like competent gunslingers, that's not Justin Herbert. Like,
no, I didn't say successful ones. I said gunslingers.
Yeah, to me, like when I think of like, because gunslinger, for what it was back in the day,
it's not the same as it was now. It's not the same.
It doesn't make me want to go watch a Western movie.
Like to me, gunslinger like Eli, good gunslinger. Brett Favre, obviously good gunslinger. You know, guys like that are Philip Rivers, good gunslinger. Like
Josh Allen. There we go.
yeah,
God,
Josh
we are
Allen.
so done.
Yo, Josh Allen, even though despite the playoff shortcomings, good gunslinger. It's like when I think of a gunslinger, like it kind of has a little bit of a negative connotation to it for obvious reasons, because gunslinger implies, hey, you got a cannon for an arm, but you're also wild. So it's like
you're playing, as we like to say it, F it, he's down there somewhere.
Like the thing is like I don't look at Justin Herbert as much as it pains me because, like I said, he's a Ducks quarterback. I like Justin Herbert, but I don't put him in the favorable idea of what in my mind is a gunslinger. Because
no,
he just doesn't make enough good plays to be called a gunslinger. A gunslinger you take the good
or at the right time.
Right.
I
just think
we talk about Dak as a garbage time quarterback. To me, that's Justin Herbert more than Dak.
interesting.
Stop making me defend non-Eagles NFC.
Anyway, but the thing is, I think again, when we look at guns, and we'll talk about this more when we get to the 2027 NFL draft, because a lot of these quarterbacks are markedly different from each other.
Yeah.
It's like NFL teams are not looking for hardcore gunslingers. They're just not.
The game's evolved past that.
It's all right, Patrick. It's all right. Yeah, no, the game's evolved past it. And that's the thing. The game changes as it always does, and a lot of it has started with college and high school, and then it kind of it starts the NFL, and then it trickles down more than anything. But yeah, it's there's no gunslinger that's comparable to a gunslinger from the 2010s. They're just not the same player.
It's not. Yeah,
and I would say the gunslingers from then aren't comparable to the ones back from 40 years before that.
Also 40 years before that, it was so much more of a running the football base league than it is.
Well, that's my point, and that's why you have so many of those guys who are considered great quarterbacks and still threw more picks and tutties.
When you think to me, it's just over the years as the game evolves, you're gonna get less. But it's the only true guy that really fits that old school gunslinger description to me. Just he's more mobile, but that's just evolving with the game. Is Josh Allen, but it's he's the last of that kind of more old school 90s, 2000s, early 2010s gunslinger archetype.
Yeah. Last thing too, have you guys ever watched 1970s football? Gone back and watched it?
Yeah,
it is torture. It's tough.
It's hell. Yeah,
it's tough. It's just such a different game.
There's the only team that I went back and watched from that period of time is not the Eagles, it's the Cleveland Browns. And
the Steelers, that's kind of where you gotta look at.
And there are things I like about it. There are elements of it that I do like. Here's what I'll say. And this is why I think eras is such an important conversation in sports, because I think it's torture based on what we know. I think if we had watched some of that before we were so familiar with the football that we've seen since the 2000s, I don't know that we would consider it torture the same type of way. Because in this day and age, if you're not passing 62% or higher, 65% or higher, you're out your starting spot.
Sure.
And back then, you were passing 55, 56%. You were not MVP category because MVP was a lot less likely to go to a quarterback back then. But you know what I mean? It was a lot more, just running the ball and defense, but on an extreme level compared to when we say the phrase running the ball, playing defense in this day and age, on an extreme level. Because Air Coryell and whatnot was such a more, the whole where were the Chargers back then in Air Coryell talk? Was that wasn't San Diego, was it? They were still in LA the first time.
I was gonna say what are you thinking of the Dan Fouts era?
Dan Fouts was SD still.
That was SD, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
first.
That's why for me, when I go back and watch football, I can't watch almost anything pre-1990 because it's just
it's
quality,
tough.
The quality of football is so bad.
It kind of reminds me if we go back and watch defense in baseball from the 1930s when they literally just didn't play it.
Yeah.
Like the only time they played a ball is if it was hit right to them.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Like,
yeah.
it's just crazy how like I think that's why I always say like certain sports like they're kind of will be like a there's like we have goats of certain eras. Like Babe Ruth was the goat of his era and was the goat for a very long time until the steroid era kind of changed people's opinions, and now obviously Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge and all this different stuff. And with football, you've got guys.
Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to clarify. I meant to clarify the other night, but yeah, I meant Ohtani when I was talking about the GOAT thing.
Yeah, no, we know.
Yeah,
we know. We know
it's fine. We figured it out.
But,
we figured it out because we're professionals here.
Or you look at like football, like in his era, because the forward pass was still fairly a thing that hadn't really been fully explored, even though it was a thing, but hadn't been fully explored. Joe Namath was the guy in his era.
That was somebody I was going to mention.
Like, but the thing is, his numbers are god awful. They're just ridiculously awful.
They're awful, but again, context.
But nobody else in his era was even attempting to pass the ball like that. So it's also like, it makes sense for the era. And it's like, then you get to like, the 80s, and you get that kind of that wave that came in, Marino.
Yeah, quality of what you grade football.
Yeah, it's so like again, that's the whole thing about being based on era. Which, by the way, since he's here, one more shout out, Lion Coffee. I'm pretty sure this is my last box of macadamia, or chocolate macadamia. But yeah, like when you asked earlier, or I said earlier, the mention I was gonna make, or the question I was gonna ask. How much do you guys think? Like you talked about Kurt Warner. How much do you guys factor in, or think it should be factored in at all, a guy's, you said story, but I'll just say pedigree?
It does matter. It does matter because of Calvin Johnson. No, not Calvin. Chad Ochocinco. Because Chad should have been in based on numbers, but he wasn't because of how he was perceived and who he is as a person.
Not what I meant. Well, not what I meant. I meant more along the lines of like for example, the Brock Purdy effect. Like, would you look at somebody more based on, would you look at somebody more favorably as a Hall of Fame candidate if they did what they did as, let's say, a guy who was cut twice or a guy who was, picked 257 versus a guy who was picked 14? Like,
that's kind of my point. That's kind of my point is like, if that affects voters, then what you're saying, like what I said about Chad Ochocinco, if that affects voters, then yes, the story also affects voters.
Got it. My bad.
They're intertwined.
I look. Kurt Warner is such an interesting kind of case study because it's the story surrounding the game of football, but also because look at Nick Foles' story. That's a good story. But he's not a Hall of Fame quarterback, and it's like because outside of
he's an Eagles Ring of Honor guy. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like nobody should ever wear the number 9 again.
Like he's a folk hero for us. He's a legend for us for different reasons. To come here when he was a rookie and play as well as he did, the 27-2 touchdown interception ratio.
People forget about that way too easily.
And the fact that Nick Foles actually does own, or he's tied several NFL records. People forget that, but he did for most completions and straight completions in a game and most touchdowns in a game. So there's things there. It's like, okay, it's great, but he's like, it's like, it's different. Kurt Warner at his peak was an MVP quarterback, was one of the best quarterbacks in football. And you also got to think about it too. Then this is why the story also means a lot, because after his Rams career and him bouncing around and him being out of football, then also, being with the Giants, not meshing well there, he could have said after all that, I'm done. And he basically said he was close to, until Arizona gave him a call. And if he would have fizzled out in Arizona, he wouldn't be a Hall of Famer. But because he was so damn good in that second act late in his career in Arizona and got to a Super Bowl and should have won it had the Cardinals defense not been piss poor on that final drive, it's like you have to realize that Kurt Warner at his peak was so great I mean, literally, it's literally in the name. Greatest show on turf. A lot of that was him. So, like, you have to realize, that the players around him do a great job and that they all contribute to that. Yes, but look at the numbers he put up in that season. That's one of the greatest seasons for a quarterback in NFL history.
It's unbelievable.
And it's
yeah.
and it's
By the
so
way,
it's like,
the greatest show on turf, even now, if you go back and watch it, it's such a great highlight tape.
like
It's so fun.
people have to
It's
realize
so good.
that the Kurt Warner story does help him get in, but between the 2 or 3 years in St. Louis when he was an MVP and a Super Bowl champion, and to have that second win with the Cardinals for about 3 years where he was equally as good and should have won another Super Bowl, like nobody gets a second chance like that, and most 99% of people would just fade away into obscurity after he finds his way out of St. Louis and becomes a backup and kind of goes through the trials and tribulations, almost quits football, like, whatever it is. He's the only quarterback to then come back as a starter, not as some bench guy that comes in off his couch and just plays well enough to get into the playoffs. No, he's the only quarterback to come back after years. And after years of kind of wasting away and not playing well, and, being a backup guy, coming back to being a starter where nobody expected what they got out of him in that Arizona run. That was incredible for what that was. So it's like, it's not just the story, it's the resilience and the fact that he's the only quarterback to do what he did. So that's so Kurt Warner is like in a special class of his own, where it's like the story matters, but the second act is what got him in. The first act was great, but even though it was brief, it was great. But you also got to remember, the story does count because he almost wasn't given a chance to be at Rams camp. They were going to cut. He was cut. What? The Packers cut him originally, didn't they?
Yep.
He was like,
by the way, I highly recommend watch American Underdog. That movie's great. It's a great film.
Kurt Warner. If you want the greatest football story of resilience, and it's Kurt Warner.
Yeah.
And listen, I'm a little biased to Kurt Warner because he backed me up. He retweeted me on Twitter.
Dude, we had like a whole show segment on it. That was
I remember that. That was
I know, but still, that was so cool to see that it was the Kurt Warner replying to me and stood behind me. I'm like, listen,
nobody could tell you nothing that day.
No one can tell me nothing. Nobody can tell me anything now. I got retweeted by Kurt Warner and he agreed with me. That's how much I know. Like, so it's like, but Kurt Warner is like, and this is why I brought him up before with the Eli Manning stuff, is that, Eli was just one of those guys in his era, but Kurt Warner's kind of in that special class where it's just the story plus the play when it was at its peak is why he's in. And the fact that he does have the ring, and he didn't win the second ring, but he got that team to the Super Bowl.
That really, realistically, with the roster, didn't deserve it. So.
And it didn't deserve to be there. It didn't.
And they played that great of a game. All right, Scoop, end this off, man. End this off here. That was great, guys. Oh my God, that was great.
I normally don't say this on air. I normally say it after the fact, but man, I love how that show went tonight.
That was great. We had a good week, man. Another good week.
Yeah, that was awesome. And one more time, since I kind of showed it but didn't really say it appropriately. Lion Coffee, go get yours. I held it upside down. Lion Coffee.
I held it upside down.
Lion Coffee, go get yours. And of course, use so it's Hawaiian Coffee Company website, and of course, use Patrick 10 for those deals. Patrick, I'm going to be reaching out to you after the fact and after the show, and we'll talk a little bit about inventory. Mr. Hathaway says it's been a long debate tonight. Mr. Hathaway, Bill, you as you insisted, but it says this has been a long debate tonight. That's pretty much a week-to-week thing. It helped a little bit more this week that, there was just some really great topics about which we are passionate in different ways. But yeah, we'll be back next. Are we doing a FOP over the next 6 days or no?
I think the plan is gonna be we're gonna reconvene after the World Cup ends because
so
I don't
no FOP for now.
I don't think because I honestly we were gonna do stuff over the summer, but number one, everyone's just on vacay, and two, everyone's watching the World Cup. There's nothing we can talk about. There's literally
Fair enough.
nothing.
And
So
training camp got pushed back because of the World Cup. So like,
yeah,
Fair
training camp got pushed. Training camp is starting soon, but like the World Cup affects
Are we
it a
doing
lot.
that quarterback draft anytime soon?
I don't think we're gonna have time this year, Scoop, because I think we're gonna go right into division previews, and then that's our summer.
yeah.
Well, that is suck, but all right.
Anyway,
Anyway,
it's just how scheduling
yeah, it is
happens
what it is.
sometimes.
Yeah. But anyway, so we'll see you Wednesday night for No BS with BNS, and then we'll be back on Thursday. What's the Scoop? Same Scoop time, same Scoop channel. Until then, Scoop, Brandon, and Rob.